Okay. Yes. So today we are planning to start with a new topic, that is organization. We already got a brief idea when we learned the management chapter. Okay. So in that I told that how the, or in short, we can say the organization is a hierarchical order of for arranging the living beings or human beings. That is called as an organization. Okay. It is the hierarchical order of arranging the human beings to perform certain tasks. That is what we called as an organization. Now we can go through the first slide. So what is an organization? 1 minute. Let's see my color. Organization is a mechanism or structure that enables living things to work effectively together. For effective working of the living beings, an organization is required. What does it establishes? The pattern of relationship. What pattern of relationship should be there between a manager and a clerk? Okay, is it a friendly relationship or is it a formal relationship, like that? So what they have to what relation they have to make up with the with the client, say with the customer, they have to make up a friendly relationship. Okay, and but what about the case of subordinates? Yes, they have to give a formal relationship. Okay, so like that, it establishes a pattern of relationship by giving duties and responsibility to an individual or a group. So main item is giving the duty and responsibility to a working member. So that is written over next line. Defines the authority and responsibility and duties for each individual or a group. So that is defined. That can be easily defined with the help of an organization. And it provide adequate communication. Say communication is essential from the top management to the bottom management. And that can be provided by means of this type of organization. How? Say it is arranged in hierarchical order. Or suppose if you are sitting inside a hall, that is a large audience is sitting inside a hall. Okay. And if a speaker is standing here without mic, can the last member can hear him? Can the last member hear him? The speaker is the speaking items without a mic there. Can the last people can hear that, hear what he hear his speech? No, they can't. They can't hear him. And suppose if this this speech is given to a selected members of this much group, and from the one member of this group, he is giving some that speech to some other group, and then group leader of this group will give that information to another one. So if it is arranged like that, means the proper communication will take place. Am I right? So that type of arrangement is called as an organization. So it provides an adequate communication. Next is coordinates or integrates and controls the activities of individual or groups to achieve the common objective. So it coordinates and integrates and control the activities of each and every individual in the company to attain a common target. Okay, so this is what regarding with the introduction of an organization. Now we are moving to next slide. Is it clear? Any doubt regarding this slide? No doubt. Okay, fine. Now we are moving to next slide. What is the significance of this organization? It helps to improve the administration, and it also provides growth and diversification, and it stimulates the creativity. Yes, that is one important thing. It stimulates the creativity and the optimum use of resources. So these two things are important. Okay, it facilitates administration. That means very easily we can we can control everything. And the say in the case of financial department, or in the case of organization, that sorry, in the case of planning department, whatever it may be, we can administrate it in a very proper way. Why? Because hierarchical order of peoples are there. We have to just call the top member. They will inform the message from the top to the subordinates. So it seems to be very easy. Facilitates growth and diversification. Hence, the growth. Say, suppose I want to change one product, or I have to provide some changes in that product. Very easily, I can give the information to the shop floor because of this organization. Next is stimulates creativity. That means each and every member are free are free to think about innovative things in his department. Why? Because he has only a limited job. That means he is free. He is not at all bothering about all the job of that organization. Okay, of that industry. That's why it stimulates the creativity of each and every person. Next is use of resources in an optimal manner. That means we can that means the required amount of material or raw material will be collected, and required amount of product will be in the store. That means we can maintain the inventory in a proper way if a proper organization is there. And also, say the human resources. Some people are sitting idle, some people are lazy, and some people have to got a burden of job. That can be avoided if an organization is there. Elements of organization. What are the various elements of organization? Let us see. Well-defined objective. Yes, the target is well-defined. Well-organized and coordinated group of people. Proper division of work and labor. Clear and well-defined policies and procedures. Proper division of authority and responsibility. Effective system of communication. So these are the various elements of organization. First of all, we can take one example. Take in the case of a 1 lakh car itself. Nano. That is our objective. Say 1 lakh car is our main objective. So a well-defined objective is there. Next is a well-organized and coordinated group of people is required to manufacture that car. That means, say that operator or that chief engineer or that design engineer must be there as an element of that organization. Next is proper division of work and labor. Say this person has to do the design work, this person has to do the steering design, this person has to do the other design, let's say chassis design, like that. And under him, lot of subordinates will be there, so that it will not be a burden to him. And he again split that job into different pieces and give that to the subordinates, so that we can use the human resources properly. Next is clear and well-defined policies and procedures. That means a good policy must be there. Say, for example, uh, the company timing is from 8:30 to 5. So that is one policy. Then procedures. That means first of all you have to make up the chassis. Then they have to make up, set up the steering. Then they have to set the wheels. Like that, different procedures are there. So for that, the arrangement of people should be done there. Next is proper division of authority and responsibility. Yes, that is the person A has to perform that duties, and the team under him has to take care of that. That means the responsibility of that entire thing regarding is with respect to that point A. Next is so with respect to that person A. Next is an effective system of communication is another element of organization that is very essential. Communication from the top to bottom as well as bottom to top. So if an organization is there, means it will take place in a better way. Okay. So these are the significance and elements of organization. Shall we move to next slide? Okay. Next is what are the various process of organization? What are the various process of organization? Determination of objectives, deciding various activities, grouping of activities, assignment of responsibilities, delegation of authority, providing physical facilities. It seems to be similar to the what we learned in the first class, one marriage function. So regarding to that, it has some relationship, isn't it? Say objective is there, then activities, deciding various activities is there. That is planning to marry, planning to marry. Then next is regarding that various activities they have to decide. Okay. Then grouping of activities. That means say booking of auditorium, like those things they have to perform. Next is assignment of responsibility to different person. Yes, uncle has to perform this one. The aunt has to perform this one. Like that, responsibilities are put over there. Delegation of authority. That means under the uncle, aunt, and everything, there exists lot of other peoples to perform the task. Delegation of authority. Next is provide physical facilities and proper environment for aunt, auntie, and as well as the uncle, all and the subordinates under them. We have to provide them hostel service, hostel facilities, and everything. So providing facilities, physical facilities, and proper environment. So like that, in the case of process of organization, also these much things are there. Let us see in detail. Determination of objective. Determination of objective. Say what way or what is our objective? Is it a 1 lakh car or is it a car? Okay, that you have to determine whether the Tata is going to make up a 1 lakh car or planning to make up a car. Okay, so that is the objective, determination of objective. Next is deciding various activities. Yes, inside a car, what are the various subdivisions there? An engine should be there, 4 tires, 3 tires will be there, a chassis will be there, steering will be there, gearbox will be there, different subdivisions are there. Say in the case of a washing machine itself, in the case of a washing machine itself, what are the different sub functions there? Can you answer? What are the different subdivisions there in the case of a washing machine? Yes, a pump is there for what? A motor is there, isn't it? A electric motor is there for the tub to rotate, isn't it? For a water tub to rotate. Am I right? Then what is next thing? Any other items? Yes, a timer is there. For what purpose? To make it an automatic one. Okay. Then any other items? Please produce. Motor, timer. Yes, dryer is also there. Dryer. Okay, agreed. Then for that also another electric motor is required. Electric motor 2 is required. Then any more items? Yes, main important thing. A body, an aesthetic body, isn't it? Aesthetic body to attract the customers is required. Yes. So these are the various subdivisions there. You have to decide whether that electric motor is a DC motor or an AC motor. Yes, the water tub is made up of mild steel or a fiber. The dryer is to be made by means of a aluminium or by means of a stainless steel. The body is made up of fiber or by means of stainless steel. Okay, is the color of the body is to be red or green or white, like that. Different things you have to decide. Am I right? Yes. After that, what shall we do? After that, we will come to a conclusion. Yes, a white colored body which is made of fiber. Then motor is an AC motor. Two AC motors are required. and otherwise a single AC motor can be used by means of certain other transmission devices. Then a separate tub is there is required for the dryer. So based on that, we will make up these activities in a group to formulate or to under the name washing machine. Under the name washing machine. Okay. So the grouping of activities are taking place. So in the case of washing machine, what will be the objective? Can you say what will be the objective for a washing machine? The company is going to make up a washing machine. What will be their objective? Maximum width with minimum power to attract customers to buy under product. Is it that the washing machine is used to remove dirt from soiled clothes? Am I right? Dirt from soiled clothes. That will be their objective. Am I right? Yes. Say, take another example. What will be the objective of a mobile company? Yes, to make calls or to communicate between two peoples which are in remote areas, isn't it? So that will be the main objective. Then, what are the various activities to be made or to be decided to make up a mobile? What are the various sub functions? Yes, keypad. Yes, it is a QWERTY or other some other keypads. Then processor. Yes. Then connectivities, Wi-Fi's. Then a video, camera. Like that, different things are there as sub functions. All these things are integrated in different levels to make up different models there, isn't it? Different models, say from the base to the higher end. So that is called as the grouping of activities. Then say a Bluetooth connectivity is there for a mobile phone. For that, one section will be there in that company. Then for making the keypad, one section will be in that company. That means that section carries the responsibility of that item. That is next one. Assignment of responsibilities of the definite persons. Next is delegation of authority. Yes, I give that a Bluetooth department to the person A. Then what will A do? The A will divide that duties to his subordinates. The Bluetooth connectivity to a Bluetooth headset is they have to make up. Then Bluetooth connectivity to a laptop they have to make up. To a computer they have to make up. For that they have to make up a portable software. Okay. Delegation of authority is over. That is responsibility of given to the subordinate authorities delegated to them. Next is providing physical facilities and proper environment. That means, say, I give the duty to the subordinates. Before that, you have to ensure that proper environment or proper machineries are there, proper safety environment are there for that human being to make that product. Okay, so that is given there, providing physical facilities and proper environment. Okay, so these are the process of organization. Is it clear to all? Okay. Next is we are going to the core of that organization. So far, we learned are the introduction part of the organization. So now you got an idea about the organization and its duties. So can you conclude? Can conclude what is mean by an organization? Yes, it is an hierarchical structure of whom the missionaries. It is the yes of the people, yes, of the living beings in a industry that we have to arrange. Then next is what? Yes, men. Next is what? We discuss about the significance of this organization. What are the significance? Yes, we can correctly, yes, and Nidish is typing. We can correctly, yes, work for a common goal. Agree with that. But that is not at all our significance, importance of this organization. Why we go for this organization? That is my question. Yes, to, it helps in administration. Am I right? It helps in administration. Then what is next one? It helps in the growth of the company. Am I right? Administration is okay means surely that product will be a successful one. Hence the company will grow. Okay. And for the growth of the company, what is necessary? New ideas are necessary. Am I right? New ideas are necessary. So is the organization? Yes, organization stimulates the creativity also. Then another one is what is the another important thing? One more thing is also there. What is that? We can use the human resources properly, isn't it? We can use the human resources properly. No one will sit idle, and the load will not be a burden to any one of that organization. Clear? Okay. Yes. Next, we discussed about the elements of organization. In that, yes, what you said is right. To work for a common goal, yes, a well-defined objective must be an element of organization. Next is what? Proper coordination of people is required. Yes, grouping. Yes, you are right. Next is what? Another important thing. Grouping is done. Then you have to distribute the load, isn't it? You have to distribute that load. Yeah, proper policy must be required. Yes, after distributing the load, a proper policy must be required. Next is what? After giving the work to all, we have to give some what to them? Responsibility, isn't it? We have to give them responsibility. Proper allocation of responsibility is there. Then one important item is also there as an element of organization. Yes, communication. Communication is also as an element of the organization. Next is, can you brief what are the process of organization? You can recollect with our marriage function. Process of organization. Division of work. Okay, is it that first? First of all, you have to make up what in the case of process of organization. Yes, he is decided he is going to make a marriage. Okay, objective. Yes, that is the objective. Yes, goal. Yes, right. Next is what is next thing? Whether he is going to marry a white girl or a black girl, like that, he has to make up a decision. Deciding various activities, isn't it? Deciding various activities. Activities of what needs to generalize, right? But the section is you have to decide which activities are to be done. After that is what you have to group the activities, isn't it? Take in the case of example of washing machine itself. First of all, the sub functions are then taken. Then after that, what shall we do? We will group the activities. Then what is next one? For the electric motor, we have to give another department. For the dryer, we will give another department. What is that? Assignment of what? Yes, responsibilities. Assignment of responsibilities. Yes, I give that responsibility to the person number A. Then what is next job? Can he do himself? Yes, he has to give that load to his subordinates. We call that as delegation of authority or what designation of authorities. Yes. Next is yes, delegation. Next is what? When you give that responsibility to the subordinates, you have to check. You have to check a proper yes environment is there, a proper facilities, proper machineries are there or not. Yes, providing physical facilities and proper environment. So these are the various process of organization. Totally 6 process are there. Okay. So these are the introduction parts of the organization. If any question asked regarding the organization means, you have to start up with these much slides. Okay. Next is organization theory. Basically, 3 categories are there. One is classical organization theory, second one, neoclassical organization theory, and third one, modern classical theory. Okay, I shall give you a brief introduction to each of the theories so that it will be clear when we discuss the slides. Classical organization theory means, let me take a pen. Classical organization theory means an entrepreneur will be there and a lot of workers will be there under him. He will put forward certain rules, considering these human beings are as machines. Assuming that these human beings are as machines, he will not give any consideration that these are human beings. Such a type of organization is called as classical organization theory. In olden days, the most of the industries are like that. That means only the formal relationships will be there, no informal relationship. Nowadays, you all know, yes, if a birthday is there for one of the colleague means, you will make up a party, isn't it? Am I right? If a marriage function is there means you will make up a party. So that is the modern classical theory. That means we are giving somewhat social relationship between them. Okay, but in olden days, that is in classical organization, no such relationships are there. And nowadays also we can see such a type of things in certain scientific fields like VSSC, ISRO, in those places we can see this type of organization theories. Okay, so next is the middle one is neoclassical organization theory. In that, informal relationship is also there, but it forget to give the formal relationships. That means this type of organization cannot be applied in all the industries. Okay, this cannot be applied in all the industries. It can be well, it can work well in certain marketing sections. Okay, so now I think you got an idea regarding these type of theories, isn't it? In the first case, the human relation is not considered. Neoclassical theory, the human relations are considered a lot, but organization theories are not included. In modern classical theory, everything is included in a standard way. Okay. Shall we move forward? Okay. Example. Okay. Yes, we are going to discuss each and everyone in detail, Mukundan. At that, I shall give you, provide you examples. Okay. First of all, we are going to discuss classical organization theory. Classical writers have viewed the organization as a machine and persons as different components of that machine. So that is called as the classical organization theory. Emphasis more on specialization of performance and coordination of various activities. That is, no informal relationships are there. Classical theory completely ignores the human aspects of organization and deals exclusively with the formal structure. Yes, he is asking me to give one example for that. In olden days, say you all might have heard about one in the factory called as HMT, Hindustan Machine Tools, isn't it? HMT watches are there. Yes, in 1985, in those years, HMT is using the classical organization theory. That means it is very strict. Say morning 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and each people is provided certain duties. Say person A has to make up the minute needle. B has to make up the second needle, and each one has to make up this much product, this much needle daily. Say 10 products daily. Like that, him also must make up 10 products daily, and he should stop his work by 5 p.m. also itself. So like that is called as the organization. Strict rules are there, and they are considering say A and B as the machines. And suppose if they commit a mistake, say instead of making a 12 centimeter length noodle, they make up only 6 millimeter, and their salary will be cut down since because of wastage of that resource. So such a type of organization is called as the classical organization theory. Mugundan, clear? Okay. Now we can go forward. What are the various characteristics of classical organization theory? First one, division of labor. Yes, without considering the interest of the laborers, they will divide and give that duty to certain persons. Say A is an expert in using a machine called as lathe. B is expert in doing a machine called as milling. But the post of both of them are operators. You got it what I am saying? The post of both of them are operators. When they divide the job, he will ask the B to go to the lathe and perform the task. He will ask the A to go for the milling machine and perform the task. Okay. So such type of division of labor is there in the classical theory. Division of labor must be there, must be required for the organization, but human considerations is not given in classical theory. So that is one of the drawback of this classical theory. The division of labor is fine, yes, if they divide, that means dividing a main work into different small works, that is okay, but they are not giving that duties to the right person. Next is, they are thinking that both are operators, then why can't he perform that? Like that, they will think. Next is scalar and functional process. Scalar means what? Vertical, and functional means what? Horizontal. Let us see what is that vertical and horizontal. The vertical means growth of the chain of command. Horizontal means division of organization. Yes, Vertical elaboration means what are the different types of hierarchical levels required required in that organization? What are the hierarchical levels required or must be required inside that organization? Say inside a hotel, we can take up a hotel. What will be the hierarchy? Yes, manager will be there. Then cashier will be there. Okay. Then chef will be there. Okay. Then server will be there. Okay. Then yeah, that is chef. Then in before the server, one menu collection people is also there, isn't it? Menu collecting people is also there. Then cleaner is there, isn't it? This type of arrangement is called as vertical approach. This type of arrangement is called as vertical approach. Got it? Next is what job? All of you got it? Give me your response. Yes, okay. Next is what job they have to provide. What job they have to provide. Yes, manager has to manage the duties and he has to set up the financial systems. Then what the cashier has to check. Yes, that what the chef has to perform. What the menu collection people has to perform. Like that, division of the labor is called as what? The horizontal approach. So the vertical approach is called as scalar and horizontal is called as functional. So that is another characteristics of classical theory. So in that case, it seems to be much more good because surely the organization will grow. Clear to all? Uh, is it scalar? Is it scalar? Yes. That is the horizontal, the hotel, this type of arrangement is called as scalar. Okay. The division that is hierarchical order of human being is called as the scalar. Then what are the duties to be performed by each department? That is called as horizontal. That is like this. Say, I uh, arrange the designations like this. That is in a vertical level. And the duties are written in horizontal level. The horizontal is called as functional. And this one is the scalar. That's all. Got it? Okay. Next is structure. Another important thing is called as a structure. So what we learned it now, first one is division of labor. Next one is scalar and functional. These are the characteristics. Okay. Next one, structure and span of control. Yes. Let us see what is the structure. Structure of the framework of formal relationship among the various persons in the organization. No informal relationships. Yes, that means the manager will not give yes happy birthday to you to the clerk peoples. That means only formal relations. What about the previous work? Have you done like that only? That is the structure in the classical theory. Next is span of control. A manager cannot effectively supervise unlimited number of subordinates because he has limited time and energy. Yes. Agreed? Can you agree? Yes, that is right, isn't it? That is right. He cannot supervise a lot of people under him. That must be there must be a limit for him to control. Yes, classical theory puts a limit on the span of control. That is, no superior can supervise more than 5 or 6 subordinates. So the class under the classical theory, the manager has to supervise or the foreman has to supervise only 5 or 6 subordinates. That is called as a span of control. Clear? Okay, right. Next is criticisms of classical theory. Before that, what are the characteristics of classical theory? What are the characteristics of classical theory? Four characteristics we learned. First one is what? Yes, labor division. Division. Yes, right. What about others? Please engage. Otherwise, it will be great boring for you. Scalar and functional. Yes, yes. Can anyone say what is the difference between scalar and functional? Scalar means vertical. Yes, that means the hierarchical order of the arrangement of the people inside an organization. Yes, right. Then functional horizontal. Yes, functional is horizontal relationships. Yes, agreed. Then, then what about the next one? The two are over. Then yes, structure. Structure. Which type of structure? Is it an informal or a formal? Yes, only a formal structure is there. Next is what? Control. The span of control. What is that? How much? Yes, that type. Limit of supervision. Yes, right. Limit of control. Yes, right. Next is criticism of classical theory. Let us see. And already we got some of the criticisms, isn't it? Let us see one by one. Lack of universality. What is that? Classical theory is based upon hierarchical structure. Agreed? They are saying that classical theory is based on hierarchical structure. Agreed? Yes, it is under hierarchical structure itself. Vector and scalar is there. Next is that establishes the authority relationships between the individuals in an organization. Today, due to the introduction of specialized staff functions, work is carried out under multiple commands. I shall explain you. Say a typewriter is there. A typewriter is there. Okay. And he is working under the man A. And B is also there. C is also there. According to classical theory, this A is only this A has this typewriter is utilized only by means of A. For B, another typewriter will be there. For C, another typewriter will be there. Suppose this typewriter is taking a leave. That means he cannot manage his work. That means B cannot use this typewriter as well as this typewriter. Okay. But nowadays it is not like that. The typewriters will be there. A, B, and C. They can use any one of these typewriter. Am I right? Nowadays in industries and everything, we can see like that, isn't it? So that is called as the lack of universality. You got it what I am said? Can you provide me another example? Can you provide me another example? Like this typewriter. Yes, in IT industry. Yes, okay. Consultants. Okay. Like net Java difference will be okay. Okay. So we cannot use the net resources for Java. Yes, that, yeah, yes. That is, it is not a universally available one. Yes, okay, got it. Yeah, okay, fine. That is regarding with one of the technical factor, isn't it? That is regarding with one of the technical item. Here we are discussing about the living being, human being. Okay, Nidish. Okay, so that is the difference. So a say a driver is there. A driver is there. So A has a separate driver, B has a separate driver, C has a separate driver. It is like that means if the driver, one of the driver is absent means A has to drive the car and come. Okay, so that is the lack of universality. If a single driver is there or three drivers are there, suppose the one of the driver is absent. So what will they do? This driver will pick the A also. After picking B, this driver will pick A also. That is called as universality. The resource will be utilized by all the peoples. Okay, but that is not there in classical theory. In your industries or in your organizations, there might be a seminar hall, and there might be certain sections will be there or departments will be there. Okay, and suppose the department A or the section A has one seminar hall or a conference hall is there. Similarly, section B has one conference hall is there. If it is like that means they have to spend a lot of money to develop that infrastructure there. Okay, no problem. Suppose if one function is carried out in this A seminar hall and another group has to conduct a seminar or a conference, what shall they do? They have to postpone this one because of the lack of that conference hall. But nowadays it is not like that. If we postpone that work means it will be taken by another organization. Since because there is a competitive field, competition is there. So what they will do? They will use the resource of this one. But such a type of universality is not there in classical theory. I think it is clear to you all. Next is unrealistic assumptions. Unrealistic assumptions. That is, human beings are machines. They are under my subordinates. Like that, unrealistic assumptions. That is another criticism. Agreed? That is an unrealistic assumption. They can't make the people as a mission and held in that industry. Surely they will relieve from that industry after 6 months. Next is excessive reliance on strength of key pillars. Division of labor causes depersonalization of work at operative level, which result in loss of human relationships. Can you say which section? I discussed this section. Can you say the example? Yes, Nilesh is typing. Yeah, lathe operator is sent to a drilling machine. Yes, right. So that is the excessive relation strength of key pillar. Yes. So that is another criticism of classical theory. That is the lathe operator, expert in lathe operator will be provided with a drilling machine and the drilling machine expert will be given to is sent to a live mission. Why? Because both are machinists. Then why can't they use like that thinking will be there in classical theory? Okay, is it clear to all? Shall I move to the next one? Okay, fine. What happened to Bashir? Bashir, are you there? I think Bashir is offline. Bashir is typing. But multi-singing, multi-skilling is good in many cases. Yeah, Mugundan. But what about the accuracy? Hey, Mugundan, in which department you are working? I shall clear you. Quality. Okay. Your department is quality. Suppose you are putting in manufacturing section, not for checking the quality, for guiding the workers. Is it will be fine for you? Okay, Bashir. Okay, fine. Mugundan, will it be give a good working atmosphere to you? No, isn't it? Because you might have got much experience in quality. So if you are putting in some other sections means it will not be a better one for you to perform. Why? Because you have to learn a lot of things. You have to learn a lot of things as a fresh. That means here he is a machinist. He is an expert in lathe. If he is provided with a drilling machine means he has to make up a good relationship with the drilling machine also to make it fine. So that much time is wasting over there, and that much mental distraction will be there in his mind also. Proper training has to be there. Yes, we agreed. See, this machinist, all these machinists are trained. They are willing to do all the works. Sorry, they are capable to do all the works in a expert manner. But sometimes they have a interest. Sometimes, in the case of IT industries and everything, they want to become a software developer. Sometimes they want to become another system analyst. Like that, different sections are there. Interesting fields are there, isn't it? So based on the interest, nowadays the companies are providing the task there. Am I right? Suppose you people are selecting the mechanical engineering, and some other people select electrical engineering. Why? Because some people are interested to learn the mechanical engineering. Some people are interested to learn the electrical engineering. So a interest is there. Based on that, they are selecting. So here, that interest is not considered. Got it? Okay. What you said is right, Mugundan. According to the management point of view, you said is right. But if we give that interest topic to the means, yes, that will give much more accuracy and give a pleasant mind to the operator also. Next is bureaucratic behavior. Yes, that we already discussed. Again, we can know the main concept of classical theory suggests the strict adherence to the rules and regulations. Yes, if he doesn't make up the 10 products within 5 o'clock means he will get only the half salary. So such a behavior is called as a bureaucratic behavior, strict rules and regulations. Today's world, where problem-solving ability, innovativeness, and creativity are required, the bureaucratic approach appears to be inadequate. Yes. Nowadays, we are thinking about creativity because the world is growing. Day by day, the needs are increasing. So in that world, if you are going for a bureaucratic approach means it will be a great failure. That's why the HMD comes down. Nowadays, we can't see the HMD watches. Am I right? Yes, okay. Next is neglect of human factor for the focus of anatomy. I have one with me. Yeah, okay. Is it a new one or an old one? In Kerala, one HMD was there, but it get knocked down. Old one. Yes, yes. Very nice watch, very strong, and very strong elements are put inside this one. Okay, okay, okay. Automatic. Yes. Yeah, HMD mission factories are working. Yes, that's you're right. Mission tool factories are still now. They are famous in making missions. The organization is different. Yeah, I meant about the HMD watches. Okay. HMD Hindustan Mission Tools are famous in making computer numerical control machines. That is mission tools. They are famous. But nowadays, by the by entry of a BFW, Bharat Fritz Burner, and like that, companies are emerged in India. Because of that entries, HMD's ratings comes down. Okay. Next is, okay, we can come to our topic. Neglect of human factor for focus on anatomy of an organization. Yes. Human factor is not focused in making the hierarchy of organization. Say the A has 10 years of experience in that industry. A fresh person B is coming over there and A is working as an assistant manager for 10 years. And B has much more qualifications than A and is working in another industry for about 40 years and he come to this company. Okay. And the 10, that is the B is a fresh to this company. While making the organization, the B becomes the superior of A. Why? Because the company is seeking that, or the classical theory is seeking that this he has 40 years of experience and he is working in another competitive company. So we can get more things from there, from him. Okay. So neglect the human factor for the or for the focus of anatomy of organizations. That means the hierarchy are done without focusing the existing persons. Next is little scope for integration. Yes, in this case, the integration of all these things, that is communication. Basically, we can say the communication is not done in a proper way in this what classical theory. So these are the various criticisms of classical theories. So what are the various criticisms we learned? First one is what? First one is typewriter, typewriter or driver. What is that? Yes, no universality. Lack of universality is there. Next is what? They are my subordinates. They are my missions. They are my missions. Non-real assumptions, isn't it? Unreal T assumptions. Am I right? Unrealistic assumptions are there. Yes, right. Next one is what? Huh. Human. Yes, this is typing. Universality lackness, unrealistic or non-realistic assumptions are there. Next is what? Not considering the strength of person in human. Yes, in human. That means while dividing the work, they are not considering the human being's relationship, isn't it? While dividing the work, they are not considering the human relationships. Next is what? Bureaucracy is there, isn't it? Bureaucracy is there. They have to strict adherence to rules and regulations. Am I right? Next is what? Human factor is not considered in anatomy of organization, isn't it? While making the hierarchy, they are not considering the human factor. Last one is what? Last one. Proper integration is not taking place in classical theory, isn't it? Little scope of integration is there in the case of classical theory. So these are the various criticisms of classical theory. First of all, typewriter. Second one, what is that? Unrealistic assumptions. What is that? That is human beings are my subordinates or my machines. Next is what? What? Division of labor without considering human relationship. Next is what? Bureaucracy. Next is neglecting in anatomy of organization. Last one is integration is not correctly done. Clear? So that's all regarding with the classical organization theory. Yes, Nivedana is typing. Okay. Is it clear to all? Yes. Next is we are moving to another type of theory that is called as neoclassical organization theory. Neoclassical organization theory. In this, the difference between the classical is, I already told you that in this informal relationships is also there. Human relationships is also considered. That is the basic difference. Neoclassicists view organization as a combination of formal and informal forms. Informal part was missing in classical approach. Yes. Next is plans of this theory. Let us see what are the plans of this theory. Is a social system. They are going to make up a social system. If a social system is there means sometimes it will affect. If it is not there means sometimes it will affect the person. If a social system is not there means it will affect the workers. If the social, sometimes it will affect the work also. Say for example, if the people inside them are very social and very company, what they will do? They will discuss their matters that are taking place inside the homes yesterday, isn't it? They will discuss those matters inside the organization without performing that task. So the social environment may affect the people as well as it will also get affected by them also. Two possibilities are there. You got it what I am saying? The social environments on the job affect the people and are also affected by them also. In both sense, it is that is the two phases are there for this one. One is good phase and the other is wrong phase. Next is informal organization, informal relationship is also there in the case of Neo. What will happen? It is fine for the workers, but it sometimes create some problems also. Next is since because informal relationship is there, integration, that is communication, is taking place in a better way. As a fun, they will communicate the items to other person. Yes, today is the last date for me to submit that work. Like that, you will say that to him. Then he will think about his work. Oh, that I have to do. That also. Yes, tomorrow is also my date. Like that, you will say. Am I right? The person A will simply say that, yes, today is my last day to complete that work. Then B is, on hearing that, B will recollect that, yes, tomorrow is my last day to do that work. Got it? So that proper integration can be taking place if an informal relationship is there. Next is what people are interdependent and their behavior can be predicted in terms of social factors. That means, in the case of a classical organization theory, it is similar to a police department. Say, whenever they see the superiors, they have to salute and they have to stand straight. They have to obey what they are saying. Okay. But in this case, in the case of this one, neoclassical, it is not like that. If the foreman says that, you please go and do that job, it is my order. Like that, we will say that means, sir, I have a headache now, I can't do it now. Like that, you can say. You are free to express your factors. Okay. Memo will be there. That is not an issue, but you can say like that. That is one of the defect or one of the drawback of this neoclassical. Next is money is only one of the motivators, but not the soul. Money, we all want money, but that is not at all the base of neoclassical. Physiological, sorry, psychological, socio-psychological factors are there. That means, say, the company A is there, company B is there. Both are manufacturing the same good. And operator C is there inside A. And he is offering by the company B 500 rupees extra. But he will not go to that company because he have some social relationships inside within that existing company itself. So he may think that for 500 rupees I am not leaving from here because lot of friends are here. Okay, like that thinking will be there. Got it? What I am saying? You got it? What I am saying? Are you there? Yes. Okay. Please give me the feedbacks. Okay. Next is man's approach is not always rational. He behaves irrationally also. That is one of the drawback of this neoclassical. Whenever he views that this is making you are making a lot of mistakes, you have to rectify it. Like that, when the foreman say, he will say that why you always blame me? What about him? He is also doing like that. Then why can't you blame him? Like that, he will ask. He is free to ask in neoclassical. Both way of communications is necessary for a sound functioning of your. That is one tool. So both way of communication. The management says that you have to complete that work. You have to set that time from 8:30 to 5. Then they will say that we can't work from 8:30 to 5. We can work only from 9 to 5. Like that way, you can communicate. Under the sense that, under the sense that teamwork is essential. So here we can see that more consideration is given to the human being. Am I right? More consideration is given to the human being. Yes. Next is what are the criticisms of neoclassical? Certain assumptions are not true, and as a result, there are conflicts in interest of various groups of in organization. That means, say, um, the operator A has some personal relationship with the foreman A has some personal relationship with the operator C, and the B he doesn't like the B. Okay, because the social system is provided here in neoclassical. Okay, so what happened? He will always blame the B and he will make problems. B also will make problems. So an issue, a conflict will be there inside this one. That is one important critic of neoclassical. Got it? Okay, fine. Theory has limited applicability and is not suitable for all the organizations. Yes, that means I told you that this cannot be applied in all the industries. Why? Because it lacks unified approach of organization theory. See, yes, yeah, yes. If you apply that in army or in the police force means it will entirely get collapsed. Yes, you are right. Yes, we can apply that rule. We can't apply that rule in neoclassical theory. What Murugan said is right. Next is theory lays more emphasis on human aspects. Yes, that we got from the previous information itself. And other aspects of organization have been ignored or neglected. They are giving more consideration to the human factors. They are not considering about the development of that company or that product. Yes, that is the there is critics of neoclassical. So you got an idea of neoclassical? Okay. Can you provide, based on these theories, can you provide some basic differences between the classical and neoclassical? Sometimes the questions will be asked like that. Differentiate between classical and neoclassical. From this, can you write? Please provide. Classical, no human factor is considered. Yes, right. Next one. Human factor is considered, but not organizational factors. Agreed. Then, any other thing? What about the case of a structural? What about the case of a structure? What about the case of a structure? Huh. Is classical type. Yes, agreed. What about the case of a structure of classical and neoclassical? No relationships. Considering the humans as machines, am I right? Considering the humans as machines. And what about neoclassical? Social system, isn't it? That means in the first case, only formal. In the case, second one, formal plus informal is there. Okay. Then, what about the behavior of both theories? Yes, right. Socio-psychological. What about the behavior of both theories? Behavior to the personals. In the case of classical, strict adherence to rules and regulations. Am I right? Strict adherence to rules and regulations, isn't it? Yes. Mukundan says formal and informal. Yes. Bureaucratic. Yes. That is in the case of classical. Then what about the case of a neoclassical? Instead of bureaucratic, human relationships give much more importance, isn't it? Yes. Irrational. Yes. You are right. Next is any other things? One important thing. What about in the case of Neo is interdependent? Yes, right. They can think freely. Creativity can be improved, but that is not there. Yeah, that is another important thing. The communication is is difficult in the case of classical. Then in the case of neoclassical, yes, both way communications are there. You are right. That is another difference. So I think you can write the difference if the question is asked the classical difference between classical and neoclassical. You can write, isn't it? Yes, right. Next is we are moving to another one that is modern organization theory. Those things are familiar to you. That's why I included in a very brief manner. Modern organization had a source of inspiration for modern theory is the systems analysis. That means, say, lot of things are there you have to consider. If we are giving only the burden to the people means they will search for another job. If we give more informal relationship means the work will not take place. So by analyzing the situation, they will put forward certain rules in the sense that in the form of feedback, or we simply call it as rating. Got it? We simply call that as rating. Nowadays, we can see for Mugundan as well as Nidish, for me, all the people who are working in an organization will have a rating there, isn't it? Yes. Based on that rating, we will grow. Suppose we will make up a false thing in that month means our rating will comes down. So that is applied in the modern organizations. Next is modern theory has an analytical base. Yes, that is a measuring base is there. It relies on empirical relationship research. That is, it is always calculating. Above all has an integrating nature. So since there is an empirical relationship, we always try to increase our rating. We have to always try to maintain our rating. Otherwise, what will happen? Our job will go, isn't it? We will lose our job. So we are very much careful in doing that. It is highly constructive. So the theory views the organization as a system and studies it totally as a complex system of human relationship, interrelationships. So in that case, the formal as well as informal, both are there. But the work will be done in a proper way itself. Why? Because they are bothered about their ratings. Am I right? That is called as the modern organization theory. Yes. Right. Next is what are the parts of this modern organization? Yes, yeah, all the things that we discussed in the neo and the classical is there. Individual is there, formal organization is there, informal is there, status and the roles and responsibilities are there, physical setting environment is there. That is everything that is lacked in classical, and that is there in the neoclassical. Everything, whatever things are in both will be there in modern organization. The above explained 5 parts of the system has to work unitedly. 2 processes are there for their unification. One is inter part and second one is intra part. Let us see what is that inter part. Inter part means, say, a task can be completed by that individual itself. Say for take the example of Mugundan's case itself. He is a quality engineer. So he can check the quality of that product by himself. Am I right, Mugundan? Yes. But what about the case of an operator? If a problem is there in that lathe machine, he has to seek for a technician to rectify that mistake. Am I right? Yes. Yes. That is called as intra part. That is called as intra part. Interpart means one job that can be easily done by means of that individual. Say, Mukundan do that work, quality work in a good way. And his superior will check it. Yes, he also will give some points to that, or sometimes he will sign it. Okay. So that is called as interpart. One job will be completely done by means of an individual. Intrapart is not like that. See, here I got the example. Such as a lathe operator needs the services of maintenance man also. Okay. So that is called as an intrapart interactions. So is it clear to all? So with the help of these two interactions, we can unify the above mentioned five items. So that's all regarding the modern classical theory, modern organization theory. Okay. Is it clear to all? So that's all with today's topic. And on the next class, we will discuss about the various functions of organizations that we will discuss in the next class. So is it clear to all? Let us criticisms of modern classical. Yes, that is also there. I forget to insert that. Okay, that also I shall come with the next class. Okay. Actually, one more slide is also there in what this one, the last one, modern classical. But when I go through the question papers, no questions are asked on modern. That's why I cut down everything from the modern. In most of the question papers, I see the neoclassical. The difference between neoclassical is also I said I saw that. Okay, that's why I cut down the modern theory. I shall brief that criticisms in one slide so that it will be easy for you to check. Is my slide okay? Yes, fine. Okay, so we can conclude today's topic. First of all, we discussed about what is meant by an organization. That is the coordinating all the peoples or living beings is called as the organization. Next is what we discussed about the significance. It is important for its organization. Then growth is for the growth it is required. Then for what making innovative products it is required. Then next one is what use of human resources, isn't it? Optimal use of human resources. So that is the significance. Next is what elements. We discussed about the various elements. Okay. After that, we discussed about the process of organization. 6 processes are there. Okay. First of all, objective, then decision, then grouping, then responsibility, then delegation. Last one is environment. Next one is what we discussed about the 3 theories. First one is classical. In that, human being is considered as a mission. Next comes the neoclassical. In that, what more consideration is given to the human package. That is, social systems is provided there. So what will happen? Nothing, no consideration is given for the organization effort. Next is what we discussed about the modern thing. Okay, modern item. And in that modern item, we are checking the people or we are running that industry by means of certain rating. So informal and formal relations are there. Okay, all are happy. So that's all regarding with the organizations introductions and its theories of an organization. And in the next class, we will discuss the functions of organization. Okay. Okay. So shall we stop there? And when you come on next class, please go through the slides so far we discussed. We have to brief the contents by means of 15 minutes so that you can refresh those slides also. Since these are theory, you have to refresh once in a week. So that's why I plan to do like that.